Tal Records presents another great new stereo LP. 20 solid hits, 20 original stars. The Raiders,
Cherokee people,
Tommy James,
I'm coming home.
the Stampeders,
Sweet, sweet, sweet city woman.
Honeycomb, Don,
Oh, my darling, not 3 times.
Chase,
I feel inside of fight. Get it on in the morning now.
Laura Lee,
Stand up and fight for your love right.
Bell,
Gonna stay with him a while.
Blood, Sweat, and Tears,
Old town cowboy.
Ocean,
Put your hand in the hand of the man.
Mark Lindsay, Brewer and Shipley, Dust, Davy Jones, Wilson Pickett, Delaney, Bonnie and Friends, and many more. 20 solid hits, 20 original stars on one stereo LP. Only $3.99.
There's what inside this cold reliever?
Liquid. New Comtrex liquid gels. Liquid cold medicine inside an easy-to-swallow gelatin shell for relief of all these symptoms.
New Comtrex liquid gel.
The all-new way to get fast Comtrex relief.
They did it. Just in time for my year as Miss America. They created Ultimate Hold Adorn. Just one spray of Ultimate Hold Adorn with the exclusive touch top, and I'm ready for a long, busy day. Ultimate Hold Adorn holds longer and better than any hairspray I've ever used. If you've got a long day ahead, try new Ultimate Hold Adorn. Just one spray takes you through a long, long day.
Now, perfect polished nails in seconds. Lee press-on nails in fashion colors. Press-on color, no messy polish. Press-on color, no drying time. Press-on color, no chipping ever. Lee press-on nails in fashion colors. Everything you need for longer, polished nails. Lee Super Stick tabs and 20 Lee press-on nails in a variety of sizes. Available in a rainbow array of today's popular colors. So press on. Lee press-on nails now in fashion colors.
ABC presents the movie of the week. Original motion pictures for television. ABC knows how to make them. We proved that with the movie of the week. This season, we're proving it again. The ABC Movie of the Weekend. Another first-run movie for television. Every week. Another season of world premieres. Motion pictures for television. The movie of the week has found its place. The movie of the weekend will too. Dennis Weaver.
Okay, Jack, I've had it. Why? Why is he doing this?
Duel.
Dear clumsy bellboys, brutal cab drivers, careless doormen, ruthless porters, savage baggage masters, and all butter-fingered luggage handlers all over the world. Have we got a suitcase for you?
Oh, what a meal, oh,
Hamburger helper lasagna.
for your family.
Authentic Italian taste.
Hearty robusto, but not too spicy, eh?
Hamburger helper lasagna turns your plain hamburger into a delicious Italian meal with authentic Italian taste. Curly Italian noodles, rich tomato sauce, and a better blend of spices.
Hamburger helper. Lasagna. Helper, hamburger helper. Make a great meal, oh.
When he got on a plane in Portland, Oregon last night, he was just another passenger who gave his name as D.A. Cooper. But today, after hijacking a Northwest Airlines jet, ransoming the passengers in Seattle, then making a getaway by parachute somewhere between there and Reno, Nevada, the description on one wire service, master criminal.
What up, Cyrus Basically? That's right, it's Saturday, and it's all right, prostate. You know who I am. You know who I am. And you know what it means when it's Saturday. It means it's time for Exelereighted Deconstruction with the Tim of the Hun and Excelerate. And tonight's guest is the Object of Hate. Everybody chime the fuck in.
Hi! How's it going, everybody? We had a wonderful week in the world of wokeness, so this should be a good show.
Good evening, everyone.
Fantastic. So is everybody doing okay? Had a good day today so far?
It's been all right. I finally got blocked by a white nationalist on Gab, so I feel like it's Twitter now.
Yeah, now you just got to get called a racist.
I did, actually, in the same fucking thread.
Yep, that's it, man. That's
how? I don't know.
There, man.
That's the hat trick of social media, is if you're able to get called a white nationalist and or if you're able to get called a cuck and a racist on the same day, you did something right.
You need to be called a Nazi as well.
What?
A Nazi as well.
Oh no, I was all three. I wasn't a Nazi because I was like
or a libtard.
No, just a cuck. I was called a cuck like, I don't know, like 30 times, which I'm kind of figuring out how a housewife is a cuck. But that's okay. And then I was called, I don't know what flubby means, but I don't quite get that one. Flubby, F-L-U-B-B-Y.
Flubby.
Flubby. And I said, is that like flubber? Because I don't bounce well. And
Flubby was a toy in the 80s or 90s, I think.
Okay.
Let me Google that quickly.
But, goals, exactly,
Becca.
I kind of like, it was like the trifecta of confusion for me, because I was like, oh, okay, so the white ethno-nationalist is not the racist, but somehow I am.
All right, so, all right, this is...
But fun. Sorry.
Right, this says, flubby, top definition, someone who is a combination of chubby and fat, quite a large body, obnoxiously chubby face, and always have a poor attitude, grating laugh, which is set undoubtedly from multiple chins and emotion.
Oh, so literally the opposite of my 5 foot 735-pound ass. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's also a book about a bad cat, apparently. Several books by a guy called J.E. Morris.
Or it's also a half erect penis, according to this.
Oh. All of those descriptions totally fit me, guys.
I get that one.
I've got a flubby. Come here, baby. Well, that's what they're calling it now.
Okay,
Jesus.
so
it was a children's book.
The children's book about a naughty cat? Is that what you said, Object?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Well, that's at least kind of, I guess. I don't know, but it was an interesting time, and yeah, it felt like Twitter 10 years ago.
Yeah,
So-
back when it was fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So did anybody else see the leaks from the Coca-Cola diversity training about how you need to try to be less white?
Yeah, I was watching the Adam Friended with Isaac and Karl Borchenko video. I mean, I guess it was a debate.
Yeah, I caught most of that this afternoon.
Yeah, I really like his shit. His content. It's just good. It's very consistently good.
Well, it's such like a milquetoast person on the trying to be on the other side. I don't know. I just felt like there was no real opposition to Carlin and Adam, right? And then Aiden Paladin came in and made it even more lopsided. Well, like the guy just wasn't very strong in his convictions.
But see, man, I don't.
He was trying to be a very smart person.
Yes, he was trying to be a wrinkly brain, and his brain is smoother than mine.
Yep.
See, I know when to shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? that's the only intelligence I have.
That's wisdom, my friend.
That's just it's time to shut up now. I can't, I can make everything worse by just talking.
So the worst part about that Coca-Cola thing is Coca-Cola admitting that they had purchased the training. However, they said they never administered it to employees, which is a lie because it was just an employee that whistle blew and put it out in the public. So, yeah, thought that was pretty ridiculous. Like, even Coca-Cola knows, and I kind of wonder what's happening at the executive boards here, right? Like, I bet you the CEO for Coca-Cola was not like, yeah, let's get our diversity training quota in, but meant to have like some sort of crazy CRT training, right? That probably came down the line from like some diversity officer that decided to pick that one specifically. Like, I'm sure there's backlash going on at the upper levels because a brand like Coca-Cola, they want to be as apolitical as possible. That's actually why I think they not do any commercials during the Super Bowl.
I don't know.
I always thought it was because they knew it wasn't going to be an investment this year.
No, like I mean, the article I read is so there's a lot of pressure to make your advertisements political, and then there's a lot of pressure from other people to make sure they're not political. So most of the Super Bowl advertisements this year were more lighthearted instead of trying to make some sort of social statement. And a lot of companies were just like, we're not even going to play that game. We don't want people critiquing whatever message we put out because there's no right answer right now. Which they're right. They're right to make that decision. There's no right answer right now.
I haven't watched anything Super Bowl related. I haven't seen a single fucking ad. I haven't cared. I watched a little bit of that Bruce Springsteen one, and I went, wow, you put this really rich old guy that can barely drive the Jeep in it, and he's going to try to act like a man now? Oh, okay, bye. And that was it. Like, that was it. I'm so repulsed by the whole political thing that's gotten into football. I can't even like watch the one game a year I would watch.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, well,
that's why I'm stuck with college ball.
I live in Kansas City, so of course I watched it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I watched the Super Bowl in 2019, and the ads were bad enough back then.
No, I did enjoy the booing session right at the very beginning with Jill and Joe talking up there. It was funny as hell. Whoa, whoa. The king is a fink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody recognizes that, do they? The Wizard of Id comic strip.
Oh, I haven't seen that in forever.
The king is a fink.
Yeah.
It's
not heard of that
striking a bell, but I feel like it was long enough ago that is outside of my memory bubble.
Yeah. All right. This certified old.
I guess we both
certified
are.
old fart here. Yeah. But it was always funny because everybody made fun of the king because it was just a sham. You know, he was a dumbass.
Know what he was doing.
Right. He was a dumbass, and the people were dumb for too. So
it was completely tongue in cheek, pointing out obviousness. It's kind of like Invader Zim and Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
Yes, or what was it? Oh shit. Anyway, I noticed some names in the chat. That's what caught my attention.
And actually, you should read those names out.
I'm going to read some of these names out, as many as I can do. Let's see. Insomnist, hello. I guess that's the official. Becca Fairley, of course. Mason Mopius, greetings. Or was that Mopius? I can't remember. Sorry. Spittle Buggies, greetings. I'm still going, seeing the same names over and over again. There's Maggie Rose. I said hey earlier. It's good to see Miss Maggie. Mr. Scott J, 87, greetings. Ryan himself, nice to see you out there. And we got your Bubba over here. So it's kind of like we're kind of cross-pollinating, and I like that. I like kind of what's going on with the Insomnists. We had on Qigong last night, and that was enjoyable as hell.
She did a fine job.
Yeah, and that was all Timma. Yeah, that was you that came up with that and got her. So
well, it's funny you asked me like how to get the Insomnists on stream, and I was just like, just message them, like, go come on, like. It's not hard. You're talking about
so many hoops.
Ryan and Sunrise, right? Like you go way back.
That's right. Yeah, I know that. I know that. Duck Dog, God damn it! What's up, man? JP2 2021 TVE. Okay, Mr. Scott. I said hey. KKA. You know when I'm not seeing your first letter because I get a warning.
Which is weird.
Yeah, anyway. We have to keep it vague. And I said, hey, Spittle Buggies. So, greetings, fam. And on that note, we're going to slide into the video room because... what?
Yeah, so before you do that real quick, there's one other thing before we get to our main topic for today.
Hey, Philip.
That I wanted to bring up, which is the whole Gina Carano thing.
Oh, what happened, man? All right.
Well, so Gina Carano... for the audience, I know everybody here knows. For the audience, Gina Carano is the ex-MMA fighter turned actress that played Cara Dune in the hit series The Mandalorian on Disney+.
Yeah.
She has been getting in trouble by Disney for posting vaguely political posts, and I do mean vaguely. The first was in response to being pressured to putting pronouns in her bio. She put beep/bop/boop. That's a little joke referencing R2D2.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was harassed for 6 months over that.
Yeah,
beforehand, before that.
Yeah, so ultimately she was fired for one of her latest posts, which was just something against anti-bullying, saying like, do we really want to live in a world where we're sitting there and attacking our neighbors for their beliefs? And then it had like, a reference to what happened in World War II, right?
Well, no, to what happened before World War II, to get to the point where World War II, what happened during World War II.
Yeah, and so she got blamed for claiming, like it was something like comparing the Democratic Party to, and that's funny because this is an extrapolation, which is true, but not one that she was trying to make. That the Democratic Party is equivalent to attacking the Jews in World War II. And that was too much, so they fired her. She recorded the interview. It drops tomorrow to the general public on the Daily Wire. But apparently in that interview, she explained that after that whole beep, bop, boop thing, Disney Plus literally made her sit through a struggle session where 40-something members of the trans community just sat there and lectured her on why putting beep, bop, boop in her comments was somehow insensitive or intolerable to the trans community.
I laughed. I couldn't have kept a straight face. I'm too big of an asshole. I would have laughed. I would have laughed and laughed and
well,
laughed.
Was
this Disney or was it Lucasfilm?
Hey, Quantifa is the right one.
It was Lucasfilm, but I mean they're ran by Disney.
Yeah, I know, but it's important to say it's Lucasfilm because Lucasfilm is a hell of a cesspool right now, and it's Disney are bad enough, but Lucasfilm, the company has been completely fucked up under Kathleen Kennedy. So no wonder they're doing this. Yeah.
I agree, and Tim, to your point, and we were talking before the stream about this. It turns out that Gina Carano was actually just a nice person and not super political. She just didn't like some of the things she was seeing. Apparently, she had colleagues that felt like they were, afraid to express their opinions. So she was just trying to post things to, like, in good faith, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure that's all going to change. Like, I think that's all going to change, and she's going to be way more bitch mode when it comes to this nonsense because she had to live through it.
Well, and you know, the fighter community, you know, since they fight, you know, they're going to be more open about how they think politically.
Yeah. Well,
you know?
it's actually no secret that MMA, Dana White, most of the fighters are far more right wing. And I think it actually, I mean, it makes a lot of sense because if you look at what it takes, it is like if you don't have the mindset where you got to look after you got to work on yourself, like it's super introspective.
Well, and then there's the whole peer pressure thing that you see on the left, you know.
Well, I'm sorry. If you're going to try to peer pressure a female fighter, you're barking up the wrong fucking
But
tree.
that's my point. It's like the peer pressure thing is a lot more a lefty tactic than it is, you know.
Just especially a woman fighter, because she's already bucking what is a societal norm. So you coming up and getting in her face, she's already had people getting in her face the whole time. As somebody who focused on auto mechanics is what I wanted to do before I went to college, and then still worked on cars after I went to college. I understand what the fucking weird societal expectations thing means, and you're bucking a system, and you get used to bucking the system, and it makes your skin really thick. So a lot of the shit talking, and there's the other aspect of it too. It's boxing. It's fighting, not literal boxing. It's fighting. There's shit talking involved in fighting. So
there's another problem as well, though. Can I point out quickly? Pedro Pascal, who plays the Mandalorian in The Mandalorian, a couple of years ago posted a tweet where he compared the Holocaust to kids in cages, you know, the Obama program of separating families at the border, to the Holocaust, to Jews in 1944. He got not a single bit of trouble for this.
Well, because
it's a complete double standard.
Yeah, we know what this is all about. It's not that you compared it to the Holocaust. It's that you have the correct opinions, right? So it's okay that when Trump was president, we can consider him literally Hitler.
Yeah, but she's been accused of anti-Semitism over this as well. She was accused of anti-Semitism over this. That's one of the reasons that they used to fire her.
Because the extrapolation is that, well, now we have the good guys that are trying to oust the bad guys, and that's totally different, right?
Yeah.
We're the good guy squad. It's in the name, and we're going after the bad guys. So,
yeah,
it's not the tactics that were the problems; it was the targets, which is actually that's actually like pretty explicit in some of the critical theory we went over, especially when we talked about Herbert Marcuse's repressive tolerance, where he basically just said, well, in order to stop fascism from ever coming up again, we're going to have to implement fascist policies to prevent fascism.
Which totally
he basically outright, like he actually said it in a lot of words, but that's what he said. So
that's like saying we're going to enact genocide to save a people.
Yeah, I think our last episode where we went over the video on tolerance was a pretty good reference to how that all works if you want to look back, because most certainly everybody agrees there is a time to stop being tolerable, and that's when one side refuses to listen to rational argument and instead turns to the sword or the gun, or in this case it's cancel culture.
Hey, before we get rolling, say hi to MC, Carl DeGroza, Philip Daniel, and I saw somebody else, Spittlebuggies. We said hi earlier, but hey, and Duck Dog. Sorry. Get that in there quickly. Everybody keeps telling me you need to engage in chat. You need to engage your chat, Irate. And
hey, I've already said if you at my name, that will get my attention because I'll see it in orange. But the chat's going by and I'm trying to do other things, and I'm not a super good YouTuber. That's why I don't have my own show, and I just leech off Irate's channel.
I appreciate the fuck out of it. So
I am female, so I multitask like nobody's business. So if you need something to be said, just at me, and I will always see it.
Hi.
We have a crap ton of video content to cover. I tried to break it up into timestamps of the things I actually care about, so hopefully we can get through it quick. But what we want to talk about is there's this New Hampshire bill that is become controversial. But as Atima is going to read shortly, it is not very controversial.
It's very straightforward and well written.
Yeah, and there was a hearing about it where a whole bunch of people, leftists mostly, came to show their opposition to this bill and why they were opposed to it. Before we actually play the video, can you bring up the actual bill so Atima can read through it?
I got it.
Oh, I don't have it loaded up, dude. Oops.
I can read it.
Do you have a web thing open? I can send you the link.
I'll put it in the chat too.
Okay, what is, is it a PDF?
It looks like a PDF. No, it's actually.
It's a website. It's just a web page.
Okay.
I put it in the chat for everybody.
But yeah, so if this bill was written, first off, a lot of the bill sounds redundant. But this bill, like 30 years ago, you would think it was some sort of progressive anti-discrimination bill. Like it is so, like what is written in the bill is so milquetoast, and it's hilarious that these social justice warriors have to oppose it because they actually know that in order, like their worldview does promote discrimination. In fact, Ibram Kendi, at the very least, like the only thing I like about him is he's a little bit less bullshit than a lot of the other critical theorists that are popular. He outright said, to determine whether discrimination is racist or anti-racist, you just have to figure out whether or not it has a racist or anti-racist outcome. If discrimination has an anti-racist outcome, then discrimination is okay. Like he's literally said, like I'm pretty sure I got really close to his exact words.
That's pretty close, actually. That's almost verbatim for the way he justified it on Twitter.
Yeah, and that's, if there's one thing I can appreciate about Ibram Kendi is that he beats around the bush a lot less than these other people who try to obfuscate their positions.
Because literally saying it's okay if we do it is a lot different than trying to justify
one thing I like about one thing I just checked in this bill that I like, the word gender does not appear at all. There's not once.
No. Okay.
I'm going to disconnect this, all right, and I'm going to load it up. I've got it. It's on the screen, so you can tell me where to go.
Okay, I gotta zoom my own screen a little bit. There we go.
Can you guys see it? Object in Excel.
Yep, I can see it. I've got it on open on a browser anyway.
All right, cool.
It's all good. Thank you.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I that totally just I did not understand that. Anyway.
Okay, so from the top, this is HB 544 as introduced. The state of New Hampshire in the year of our Lord 2021, an act relative to the propagation of divisive concepts, be it enacted by the Senate and House Representatives in general court convened. 1. I don't know why it's written like this. It looks like the page has gotten messed up or something.
It's legalese, plus they converted it to the raw text, which is why it's so ugly.
Okay, so we'll talk about one new chapter, Propagation of Divisive Concepts Prohibited. Amendment RSA by inserting after Chapter 10B the following new chapter. Chapter 10C, Propagation of Divisive Concepts Prohibited. 10C1 colon or 10C colon 1. Definitions in this chapter. First definition, contractor. What?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought I said something wrong. Contractor, by any and all persons, individuals, corporations, or businesses of any kind that in any manner have entered into a contract or perform a subcontract pursuant to a contract with the state of New Hampshire. 2. Divisive concept means the concept that A. One race or sex is inherently superior to another race or sex. B. The state of New Hampshire or the United States is fundamentally racist or sexist. C. An individual by virtue of his or her race or sex is inherently racist, sexist, or oppressive, whether consciously or unconsciously. D. An individual should be discriminated against or receive adverse treatment solely or partly because of his or her race or sex. E. Members of one race or sex cannot and should not attempt to treat others without respect to race or sex. An individual's moral character is necessarily determined by his or her race or sex. G. An individual by virtue of his or her race or sex bears responsibility for actions committed in the past by other members of the same race or sex. H. Any individual should feel discomfort, guilt, anguish, or any other form of psychological distress on account of his or her race or sex. Or I. Meritocracy or such traits as hard work ethic are racist or sexist or were created by a particular race to oppress another race. J. The term divisive concepts includes any other form of race or sex stereotyping or any other form of race or sex scapegoating.
Yeah, like seriously, if everything you just read was in a bill written in like right after the civil rights movement, everybody would look at it and be like, "That's fine." I can't find anything that anybody of good sense would find objectionable in that. I mean, you're right. It's so well written. I just read it and I'm just like, literally, it's written in a way where it's almost like its own Kafka trap, right? Where if you oppose any of these things, you're admitting that you are wanting to promote racism or sexism.
Exactly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Are we going to read more?
Yeah, we can go through it just a little bit more. There's a few reasons to go through it. Just read fast.
Timma?
Timma?
We can't hear Timma.
Timma, you died.
She's cut a mic.
Sorry, I coughed and then I forgot to unmute.
There we go.
Okay, so we're on to the rest of the definitions.
Yeah.
We finished the subset for what divisive concepts means.
3, race or sex stereotyping.
Now we are going to discuss what race or sex stereotyping means, ascribing character traits, values, moral and ethical codes, privileges, status, or beliefs to a race or sex or to an individual because of his or her race or sex. Number 4. Race or sex scapegoating means assigning fault, blame, or bias to a race or sex or to members of a race or sex because of their race or sex. It similarly encompasses any claim that consciously or unconsciously, and by virtue of his or her race or sex, members of any race are inherently racist or are inherently inclined to oppress others, or that members of a sex are inherently sexist or inclined to oppress others. Number 4. The state of New Hampshire means all agencies and political subdivisions of New Hampshire, including counties, cities, towns, school districts, and the state university system. Definition 4. Student means any and all students of any school district, school, college, or university which receives grants, funds, or assets from the state of New Hampshire. Those are our definitions. Do you want me to continue reading?
Yeah, so the requirements are important, and that's what I wanted to get to, because whenever we watch this video, you'll understand why this bill's being completely misrepresentative.
And why they're so apoplectic about it.
Yep.
So, okay, subsection 1. Requirements for the state of New Hampshire. Subsection A. The state of New Hampshire shall not teach, instruct, or train any employee, contractor, staff member, student, or any other individual or group to adopt or believe any of the divisive concepts defined in RSA 10C:1-2. Subset B. No employee, contractor, staff member, or student of the state of New Hampshire shall face any penalty or discrimination on account of his or her refusal to support, believe, endorse, embrace, confess, act upon, or otherwise assent to the divisive concepts defined in RSA 10C:1-2.
Real quick, I think that B is the one they have the biggest problem with, because that's their enforcement mechanism.
Yes. Yes, it is. This is like, basically, this is outlawing their Hail Marys. So, subsection 2, requirements for government contracts. All state contracts entered into on or after the effective date of this chapter shall include the following provision. During the performance of this contract, the contractor agrees as follows. The contractor shall not use any workplace training that inculcates in its employees any form of race or sex stereotyping or any form of race or sex scapegoating, including the concepts that A.
Yeah, those are the same concepts we read through, so we can skip past this.
Okay. B. The contractor shall send each labor union or representative of workers with which the contractor has a collective bargaining agreement or other contract or understanding a notice to be provided by the agency contracting officer advising the labor unions or workers representative of the contractor's commitments under this section, and shall post copies of the notice in conspicuous places available to employees and applicants for employment. So it's going to say it's against the law in New Hampshire for you to discriminate based on anything. Period.
Yeah, this is pretty common in a lot of labor-intensive places where they have stuff posted saying that, like, if this happens, you can report it to this person and you'll be protected.
So this is basically using Saul Alinsky's, like, use the rules against them thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is one of the best written Kafka traps I've ever seen. This is brilliant. So, subsection C, in the event of the contractor's non-compliance with the requirements of this section or with any rules, regulations, or policies that may be promulgated in accordance with this section, the contract may be canceled, terminated, or suspended in whole or in part, and the contractor may be declared ineligible for further government contracts. So, you screw up, they call you on it, you don't stop. Bye, Felicia.
They move on.
You gone.
Yeah, I mean, what they're doing is, this whole idea is, and it really is a good way to word this, to try to put a stop to the institutional spread of critical theory, is because without being able to propagate itself through government institutions, right? Like, where else does it have to go? Because in reality, like, I know the media supports it and academia supports it, but academia is largely a government institution. Without that ability, they have no real power to enforce the moral authority that they're trying to push upon everybody else, right? Especially with that section B that I talked about, where they're just saying, like, look, if you're going to college, or if you work for the government, or you're a company that contracts for the government, and you start firing people because they don't want to submit to these concepts, guess what? It's going to get taken up in court. You're going to get sued out of existence.
Mm-hmm. As you should be, because it is fucking racist and sexist to suggest that any race or gender or anything exists just to oppress other people. It is inherently racist and sexist to say those things.
Completely.
There's no way around that.
How dare you?
So, what else do you want me to read? Requirements, or do you want me to discuss the?
I think that we went through enough. I'm trying to find. There's some very explicit language in here too, where it says this doesn't exclude being able to talk about this in an academic setting.
Okay, yes. That was in requirements for agencies, I believe. General provisions. Nothing, it's general provisions, which is section C3, subsection 2. Nothing in this chapter shall be construed to prohibit discussing, as a part of a larger course of academic instruction, the divisive concepts listed in RSA 10C1 and 2, in an objective manner and without endorsement.
That is incredibly important, right? So it's not saying that you can't treat critical race theory. You just have to teach it in a way that is, when they say objective, right? They just need to state it for what it is, and then not force kids to adopt the theory, right? They can learn about it, they can choose to adopt it, but you can't force them to adopt it.
No, you can't. Well, it's allowing people to have their own minds still. And it's also
Yeah,
saying that you aren't allowed to.
Yeah, what's like that's basically saying you still have academic freedom, right? You can still teach courses on this,
Right.
It's not going to get rid of your critical theory departments, which is something, funny enough, I would support because I just don't think taxpayer money should be able to, I find it to be religious, right?
But it does outlaw struggle sessions.
Yeah, it would outlaw things like that, which I think is important. They could potentially even get away with certain exercises under the guise that it was an academic exercise. Fine with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It prevents deplatforming as well.
It does.
Which is bloody important.
It
does.
That is very
or
important.
no platforming in academia. So.
But anyway, the reason I wanted Atima to read through at least most of the bill, there's not much else to it, actually. It's a short bill, is because we're about to hear the arguments for and against this bill in a New Hampshire hearing. And some of the arguments against the bill are just, like, you have to lie. You have to lie about the bill in order to be against it. It's great. And I hope you enjoy what we're about to hear. So I think the first timestamp I had for you was 3 hours and 35 minutes.
Can somebody tell me when they get there? I can barely see these numbers from where I'm at.
I'm not
We
sure
don't
you're
have a
live
screen
anymore.
to watch, brother.
Oh, well, that would fucking help, wouldn't it? Sorry,
it's like a 6 hour long hearing.
You've
4
gone
hours
too
of it
far.
was
You've gone too
dedicated
far.
to this.
Go back. I can see it. That you're at 5 right now. 5 hours in.
Oh, I see it.
Forward a little bit. There you go. Well, actually, back just tiny bit up.
Let's do that.
We can
Yeah,
have
that's fine.
30 seconds, brother.
We can talk through some of the. So the biggest problem with this whole thing is actually that most of it is downtime because of the fact that it's a Zoom meeting.
Right, ready?
Yep. It's actually hilarious. Early in the stream, they can't figure out how to do shit.
Dude, it's sideways, man.
Dude, like,
You got a whole bunch of old boomers trying to use Zoom and they just can't figure it out. By the way, pay attention to the bitch in the middle, Chris Schultz, because she's one of the biggest opponents of this. And
she looks like Copper Cab.
I was thinking the same fucking thing, dude.
Oh, he's raised his hand now. There you go.
Right. Audio good for everybody? Loud enough?
I think on our side, a little more volume would help.
You can turn up the volume yourself on the thing.
I can?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, look, there's a little.
Yes,
volume.
Representative Horgan, please speak.
Glad to kick it off. Then only 6 minutes late.
Sorry.
My name is Resident Timothy Horgan. I represent Stratford County District 6, which is the towns of Durham and Madbury. So Durham is the home of UNH, so this is a particularly large problem if this bill was passed for university, given that, frankly, there's a lot of things in there that are inimical to its values and also are just plain false. But anyway, I'm opposed to HB 544 for many reasons, main thing being the fact it's racist and anti-free speech. Yes, I did say this is a racist bill, and yes, I am virtue signaling, but I have the right to virtue signal. It's still a free country.
You guys all just heard the contents of the bill.
Well, like just about anybody puts a bill where themselves virtue signaling. Normally I'd laugh this bill off, but it has to be taken seriously.
You will not impugn the motives of anyone.
All right.
What you believe and what you know, but you may not fault or anyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would, I would just say this bill would have racist effects, so I'll leave it at that. And I admit that I am virtue signaling in case anybody listening wants to impugn my motives. I'd laugh this bill off. But
Okay, well, I impugn your motives now,
majority
Dick.
leaders a co-sponsor.
Yeah, with the virtue signaling,
He's lying.
he's like emphasizing that he's virtue signaling. It's like, who gives a shit? We get it.
Well, and he's also already like the reason we read the bill beforehand is he's saying this bill will have racist impacts.
It's racist.
How will it have racist impacts?
Mm-hmm.
Then he brought up the First Amendment, and I'm just like, the First Amendment. I'm sorry, it doesn't apply to what government, we like us as taxpayers have to have the government preaching to us, right? The First Amendment is for us as individuals to be able to say and believe what we want, not the government.
That's right. Totally agree.
It's just like the Second Amendment prevents the government from spending taxpayer dollars to promote religion, right? We can prevent the government from spending dollars to promote an ideology. It's not a 1A issue. That is a complete red herring, and he's not the first person that's going to bring this up, and it's complete bullshit.
All right, so keep rolling.
Yeah.
I don't know how this limits free speech, but okay.
We have to take it seriously. Certainly, racism, sexism are no laughing matter. Racism is theft. Sexism is also theft. They don't just steal people's dignity, but even steal their money because women and minorities are paid less on the average than white males for doing the same work.
Oh, I need the button.
More lies.
I was brought.
I need the button.
We need a bell for every time they tell a lie.
I need the shoe button with the wage gap. Anyway, I don't like shoe, but I like her button.
Oh, I gotcha.
Oh. That sounds rather risque.
Yeah, I know.
But I've been a face
So
which teaches racial equality, which I prompted by a comment I heard last week because I don't want to impugn his motives. But perhaps some of the committee may have heard of it or even belong to it. It's the Roman Catholic Church. I never went to parochial school, but I did graduate from Christian high school, which also taught racial equality as well as gender equality. That'd be the Northfield Mount Hermon School. So certainly it's possible. I don't think I'm a racist. I hope I'm not. I've done unkind things, said and done unkind things, which I now know to be wrong. But
he's wrong. He's white. He's
certainly
racist.
possible for me, a racist. Both my church community and my school community both had and still have racists within their ranks. So my high school is in another state. It probably did little of any business with the state of New Hampshire. I haven't checked transparency.gov to see if that's true, but I doubt it does. Although if there are similar schools here in New Hampshire which do business with the state of New Hampshire, the Diocese of Manchester does lots of business with the state. They would do even more if certain bills are passed, which are not passing this year. But they do lots of business with the state. And I'd say probably all of the stipulations in HB 544 are incompatible with the church's value. In fact, I think the stipulations in HB 544 are incompatible with the values of just about every institution in the state of New Hampshire, including the business community. And also, as I said, I guess also citing the fact that there's lots of just incorrect.
What church did he say he was with?
A Roman Catholic
Roman
one, I
Catholic?
think. I don't know.
Okay.
He's just rambling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is all about him. You're absolutely right, Ryan Walters. It's absolutely. He hasn't stopped talking about himself at all. At all.
Remember, it's his truth. So, it is what it is.
Narcissism. Boomer narcissism.
Hello. Thank you.
Facts here in the beginning of the bill. And it's also probably totally unenforceable, because there's really no way for the state to know what sort of internal personnel practices even a nonprofit or corporation or even a business that they do with. And this would force them to meddle in the affairs of just about every institution, including private businesses, that has any contact with the state government whatsoever. So it's but on the other hand, there's also no enforcement mechanism. There's no fine or anything. So anyway, this is a very bad bill. So I'm sure I'm not the only person who's going to say that. So I would urge you to ITL it as soon as possible. So thank you. If you have to take any questions, should anyone have them?
Thank you.
Just
Are there
let them
questions
spawn
for
and
Representative Horry?
We'll talk over it. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Like, we just read the bill. Nothing he said about the bill could be further from the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I find this. I'm just completely fascinated by. Well, first off, I like some of the testimony against the bill, but the opposition testimony. I'm fascinated by it because you have to do some crazy mental gymnastics to come to the conclusions that they're coming to.
Yeah, I don't know how you say this is anti-free speech and racist.
Well, I just heard the dude just talk about his white guilt and shit.
Yeah, it literally says you can't be sexist, and he's talking about this bill opposes gender equality. It's like, it doesn't. It says right there. It just says you can't be like a sensualist and say just because you're a white male that you have certain characteristics, right? Like these are things that are very common sense. It doesn't do anything that this person just said at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't even understand why he kept talking about growing up anti-racist. And okay, you do realize that the words of the Bible say the literal opposite of critical theory, right? Literal opposite.
That was the point. Yep.
James is at 39.20, so it's just a little bit ahead of this. If you can,
You mean to pop it up?
Just a little bit ahead.
You mean to pop that up, man?
Well, do we have to listen to the crazy old guy talk anymore? Because I think I may shoot myself.
No, he's done.
Hold on. Let me get this now.
Like, you're literally only going to have to move it up like a millimeter. There, a little bit back. Back. There we go. Hit play. Oh, no, you screwed up.
Hold on.
What?
39.20.
Seeing none, I call Jim Lindsay.
There we go.
Jim Lindsay? Jim Lindsay?
He goes by Jim, actually.
Really?
Yep.
I've never heard him called Jim before.
Yeah, if you listen to their, like, Peter Boghossian or Helen refer to him, they refer to him as Jim a lot.
Oh, I'm used to the stuff where I've listened to Helen talk, where she's always she calls everybody by their full name.
Mr. Lindsay?
Hello. Sorry, I was figuring out Zoom on my phone for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, I'm joining you from a hotel in Los Angeles today. My name is James Lindsay. I am an expert in critical race theory. In fact, I'm one of the very few experts in critical race theory that does not subscribe to the ideology underlying critical race theory. And I wanted to testify in support of this bill. I think this bill is a crucial maneuver for essentially every state, especially since there was an executive order of this type federally that then was rescinded by the current sitting president. I want to kind of start my testimony. I'll try to stay brief by saying that I receive thousands of messages from people all over the country because I am recognized as a kind of world level expert in critical race theory, from parents of students in schools, people in workplaces, begging me for solutions that they can bring to their workplaces, to their children's schools, to try to deal with the problems that follow from this ideology. A lot of people don't understand critical race theory, and we can talk about that briefly in a moment, but I want to talk about the bill itself first, as it's modeled after the executive order that President Trump issued in September. And it doesn't even technically ban critical race theory. It certainly doesn't ban the teaching of critical race theory. It certainly doesn't ban diversity or anti-racist or racial sensitivity training, and people should be clear about that. So it's not shutting down the ability to have diversity training or education or to cover these subjects in an academic manner in school. So it should be made clear. On the other hand, it does ban things that are central to the United States. It bans, or central to, the opposite of them is central to the United States. It bans racial scapegoating. It bans racial stereotyping. It bans racial discrimination. It bans naming the country or state, in this case, as being intrinsically evil or racist or sexist. It bans the same things for sex and race. Racial scapegoating, sex scapegoating, racial stereotyping, sex stereotyping, and discrimination for both. These are not things that we really want to try to bring back into this country. We spent a long time getting away from them. The ideology of critical race theory begins from the first assumption that it makes. This is written in all of their literature. You can read it for yourself, for example, in Delgado and Stefanchik's Critical Race Theory and Introduction, which is a standard textbook in the subject. It says that it begins from the assumption that racism, and it would be parallel for sexism, is the ordinary state of affairs in society. It is the normal science of society. It's not an aberration. That boils down, in the name or in the words of other scholars, to the question is no longer did racism take place, but rather how did racism manifest in that situation? The people who are equipped to find the racism that's apparently hidden in every possible situation, every interaction, every student-teacher interaction, every employee interaction, every boss-employee interaction, every single one of those has racism in it. The people equipped to find it are called critical race theorists. What this training what this bill is supposed to ban is training people to think this way, and mandating them in their workplaces and in their schools to have to think this way. This is a divisive, dangerous way to reintroduce race salience and sex salience into our institutions. It's from the thousands of messages I receive from panicked parents and employees all over the country all the time. It causes division. It causes hostile working and learning environments. It will set schools and workplaces up for lawsuits where they have created discrimination and they have created